Is that like you get it? You see
I
what they're
love it.
going?
I
You
love
it.
So like every day I fold my clothes when I take them off to get dressed for workout or for practice. So I like that everything is uniform and it looks good, and I love it.
Yeah. Do you see how that helps? How that can translate onto the field?
You know, if we
paying
focus
attention to
if we
details?
focus in details in the weight room, we'll focus on the little things, on the field. So like first step is like first two steps is what Coach Bless coaches us every day. And so if you can do that, that'll just set you up for success in the future.
I think there's no such thing as a small detail. There's big details. So I think, you know, everything in life, doing your homework, studying, getting up when you need to, being on time in certain meetings and things like that is just how you need to live life. So I think if you live life right, everything else will fall in place.
We're focusing on handling our job and handling our job right and trusting our teammates to do their job as well. We knew we needed an edge to over-compete and out-bet everybody else in our conference. The nation, the details was just kind of something that he brought to us and we rallied around and kind of took a hold of. And it's even more obvious when you go back and watch film. It's like, wow, if I take this step instead of that one, we're winning games. And even though we had a lot of close games last year, but it's just those tiny things do become big things. As an older guy, I have seen it go through and I've seen it happen from taking a step back. Able to see, oh, we may not have focused on details toward the end of the year last year. And I could kind of see that outside looking in, and now I'm looking like, oh, people are taking the right steps all the time in practice or in workouts, and there's a lot more quality of work that I think is going into it.
So this is your tape. Is that on there?
Yeah,
It is.
it's the truth.
There it is.
It's right there, baby.
What does that mean to you? How do you take that? Like, what specifically is being communicated there?
Really, focus on everything. You know, it's not. He preaches that it's not a small detail. You know, a detail. You know, we lost. You know, a few games last year. What was it, 5, something like that, by a possession. And if you go look at the film, it's like, okay, well, if we would have just made this read, or we would have made that block or this block, that's in a ball game right there. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what he's meaning by details. You know, focus on the little things, and the small things that people might call them aren't, you know, little details.
Can you mention this briefly? Like, we're gonna do
I wish I
this
would've.
the way we're gonna take everything to the field.
Check me out. So we have a like a paper, and it's a picture of like a model vacant locker.
Yeah.
And if it's not exactly how that is, which is you got this loop right here, that loop right there, this goes here, and that up top, you running.
Is that
You're
right?
doing something after practice.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of, you know, just him putting a great emphasis on the details right there. So with
you
that,
appreciate
most definitely. Now at first I was like, I mean,
what does this have to do with me blocking?
what if I leave a glove out, you know? But you can appreciate it, because if you're, you know, real detailed inside of the locker room, then it'll only carry out to the field. That's how I feel about it.
He said after the
No, I think that's a legitimate point. You know, when we came back from January, you know, unfortunately, I had a little bit longer Christmas break. And so, you know, as you're watching a lot of bowl games and knowing that you needed and should be a part of those things, you know, you're generating and starting to form in what next year's team is going to be. And you can't start developing that if you wait till right now. So we sat down, kind of came up with some ideas. We as a staff came up with some ideas, but this is something that we thought, as you look back on it, you know, don't really want to talk much about last year, but there was many games in there that are decided by 1 point or one play or one possession, something like that. And, you know, there are no small details. I mean, every detail that we have is important. Our team has really bought into that. And that's gone everything from, you know, our new locker room to how we're handling that, to the way we dress, to the way we're acting, the way we're preparing for meetings, what we're doing in our meetings and coming out of them. And we're placing emphasis and making sure that those guys are staying, you know, on top of that. And I think our team's really bought into it, and that's going to be our theme all year long.
So, like the way they keep the locker room, or they're like new rules or things that they're supposed to follow that maybe weren't in place before?
Yeah, I mean, we have a new space, and we have a new home, and it's beautiful, and we're going to keep it beautiful. And you're responsible for your part of that home. And so whether it is how I put my helmet in the cubby or where I hang my stuff, everything is there's no stone unturned. So if we're going to talk about details, we're going to live details in our lives. For us, there are no little details. Everything is important about what we do. We started that theme in January when the guys got back.
Watch everybody else in front of you.
That is our theme for the year, and guys have bought into it and really taken hold of it.
Yeah, that's a way different focus. I mean, like you said, the little details that are so big, I mean, we're just trying to focus on everything. I mean, every aspect of our game. I mean, footwork, for example, keeping my eyes in the right direction, knowing situations, knowing the play calls, knowing downs, the little things that you guys think maybe might be little, but that are big to us.